To facilitate purchasing them, we situated the revival point next to the counter. This way, the resurrection bracelet became a necessity. It was selling like hotcakes, the best, in fact, among the 3 items. The item return whistle was limited to single-person usage. The benefit of it was that it could return the user to the outside instantly. It was a lifesaver when you got lost. In essence, it was an item made for emergency usage. Its price was rather high, at a cost of 30 silver coins. Those who tried to save some cash by buying a resurrection bracelet instead of a return whistle should reconsider their choices. After all, while you could return to the entrance after death in this way, you also had a chance to lose your equipment. Despite keeping your armor intact, any weapons that fell out of your hands would be left behind. No one in their right mind fought while holding on to their loot. They were more likely to lay that stuff in the hallway floor. Subsequently, those goodies wouldn't be extracted, and, in a sense, it was a penalty for death. There aren't many people who risked returning by dying. That's probably why the item sold that well. The sale of recording crystal was a lot worse than we expected. However, there was a history where a large amount of it was purchased. It cost 1 gold coin, an expensive price, as it would convert to around 100,000 yen. It looked like some people had the foresight to purchase this expensive item in large quantities. You could easily utilize death to return to the entrance by using this item. I'm guessing that some people may be very stubborn in challenging the guardians, so it'd be very dangerous to give away these items cheaply. This was why we set the price this high. Even with that being the case, I still thought there would be demand for it. Upon reaching the deeper floors, the difficulty of the floors would increase drastically. Given that the checkpoint only appears every 10 floors, it must give the challengers the impression of trying to reach Heaven's Gate. I always thought that it would one day become profitable, even if just a little. Some people would, surely, find it useful. There were also other ideas, such as lending weapons and armor. But they didn't seem to be profitable yet. This gear was prepared by Kurobi. They were of excellent quality. The only people using this seemed to be the ones who lost their weapons during their last attempt. However, it was slowly gaining popularity. When the rumors surrounding the amazing quality of the weapons spread far and wide, surely, there would be more people renting them. Everything seemed to be going smoothly. However, even if we finally landed some success, we still couldn't get careless. Times like these require even more caution. The fastest progressing team had been doing well. So far no one had deserted. They were gradually delving into deeper floors. Fortunately for us, they managed to inspire other challengers' motivation. They would come back to the labyrinth even after failed attempts, and our sales had been going up because of it. We must maintain this flow. I want to challenge the labyrinth again. If we could get everyone to think that, it would be surprisingly easy to get over 1,000 customers in one day. Well then, according to Mayurmiles-kun's report, we have been very successful. However, we must not be satisfied just yet. Please feel free to express any feedback you have. In order to keep everyone on their toes, I said this to give it a head start. Ramiris was the first to react. I got something. Then Ramiris-kun, please take the stage. Well, it's about the spirit wielder's spirit communication. It's a blind spot for us where they can gain information from the spirits. But I can actually interfere with it. So, what should we do? Interference you say. Although I did want to sabotage them a bit, that did also seem rather despicable. Because our customers were using totally valid ways of progressing, if we were to use unethical tricks to interfere, it would seem to be unfair. This was not a war, nor some competition. You are sure that the spirits are not being forced into service, right? No, they aren't. It's evidence that the spirits like them if they are able to build such a trustworthy relationship with them. If that's the case, then we shouldn't interfere. I dislike the idea. Right. I half guessed that Rimuru would say so. Ramiris compromised immediately. Well, she did propose it, she likely didn't want to do it either. Indeed, lying is no good. But Ramiris, how about you create a zone without any spirit? That spirit communication thing, isn't it used to hear what the local spirits have to say? Would it therefore be rendered useless if there aren't any spirits to begin with? Oh, this surprising response came from Veldora. He's usually very useless, and to think he's come up with such clever words. Rimuru, what's with your surprised look? Yikes, this guy is sharp. Nothing, only that I feel truly impressed. I thought just now, as expected from Veldora. Your suggestion was very good. I panicked a bit trying to answer him. Yet Veldora's mood was immediately cheered up afterward. Right. My wisdom has finally come in handy, gahahaha. He sure got fooled fast. Well, what about it, Ramiris? No problem. I can ask the spirits to change their residence. Without spirits that possess will, the challengers won't be able to activate spirit communication. Looks like there isn't any problem. Thanks to Veldora, we would have a chance against the spirit wielders. Then I'll be counting on you. It's great to have been able to exchange ideas like that. Indeed, you are correct, my wisdom. Yep, next one. Does anyone else want to give his suggestion? I can't have Veldora keep acting smug anymore. Let's get to the next person. The person who then raised his view was, again, Masayuki. Isn't it the case that you can't get any items from defeating monsters? Monsters upon death would drop items. These are common occurrences in video games, but it would seem bizarre in real life. I figured it was enough that you could extract materials or magic crystals from defeated monsters. Will it be necessary? Veldora asked. To which Masayuki's answer was very simple. Not really, it's just that the healing potions are surprisingly expensive. High-ranking adventurers may have the spare cash to use them sparingly, but most average men won't bear to use them. Instead, they would choose to flee. Some people probably think that, if you can be revived without a scratch inside the labyrinth, you might as well endure more defeats, as opposed to spending the money buying potions. That's why, we might as well have monsters drop some low-tier healing potions, so that everyone can easily access them. But that's just my view. He had a point. Healing potions were among the list of things being promoted in our nation. People were gradually realizing their practical value. However, it wasn't exactly cheap. And the price had hindered the number of customers from growing any faster. In our nation, a lower healing potion would cost 4 silver coins, while a higher healing potion was sold for 35 silver coins. And regarding full healing potions, we weren't even selling them on the market. And even if we did, it would cost somewhere around 500 silver coins to 5 gold coins, and more. The cost of living in our nation's cheapest inn, accounting solely for lodging, cost 3 silver coins. It cost 5 silver coins instead for included baths and a meal. Better inns, used mainly by merchants, cost around 10 silver coins, excluding meals. This is the equivalent of a ranked D challenger's entire day's worth of work within the labyrinth. The average income was around 15 silver coins. And even with a team to improve efficiency, it fell around 20 silver coins. This income was passable for now. It was sufficient to make a living with this money. But it may not be the case for any emergency situations. For instance, them falling sick or being severely wounded. They had no chance to experience a complete social welfare system. In addition, it was also important to maintain their weapons and armor. They'd need to replace them when they were broken. They would also have to save up money to purchase better gear. Low-rank adventurers had a hard time even hunting monsters. In order to improve their quality of life, they would have to train themselves to become better. It was quite challenging for these people to just pay 4 silver coins. After all, they also had to save up for the entry fee of the labyrinth. I could understand their feelings when they could only watch and were not willing to purchase. If they were to come across a treasure chest, they would become rich overnight, but still, I didn't think they really had the capacity to waste any of their savings. That is a common setting in video games. Masayuki had a point, however. All of the monsters in the labyrinth are spawned naturally. It's not that simple to have them all carry items. These people weren't my subjects anyway, there was no reason I should give them such convenience so easily. Well, I wish to help them, they should first try to survive on their own. After all, there was freedom association for such circumstances. They were not the citizens of this town, so I couldn't grant them aid in the name of the nation. Unfortunately, this was the reality. Who couldn't keep up was left behind. We probably can do it. As I was almost about to give up, Ramiris's carefree voice rang in my ears. You serious? Yeah, all we have to do is to feed the items to the newborn monsters. Assuming we could do that, it opened the door for all manner of possibilities. We could have treasure chests keeping all the good stuff, while the monsters would drop all the garbage. But even if it were garbage, to low-ranked challengers, they would be a source of their income. This would, in fact, be a welcome change for low-ranked challengers in the future. If you can work hard, you will be rewarded. Such an environment, to me, was most ideal. Then there shouldn't be an issue. You will get rewards just by defeating monsters. Surely, the challengers would work even harder now. In this way, there could be more monster materials circulating the market. It may even become a specialty of our nation. When we have enough profit, we may even invest part of it on healthcare. Any sickness would be covered, and even if you were to be severely wounded, there could be solutions. It'll be just like Japan. Having a healthcare system for all citizens will be a dream no more. If such a policy were not implemented quickly after the founding of a nation, it would seem very unfair to the people. Because of this possibility, we should enact it as soon as possible. The recognition of citizenship also posed a problem. The challengers of the labyrinth, traveling merchants, these people were all not citizens. They should try to register as citizens now to get their rights. At this time, the Tempest Federation was still developing. That's why we welcomed immigrants. But perhaps once our nation matured, we may even come down against immigration. The so-called nation, at its core, is just a massive mutual assistance organization. People can't live on their own, that's why they form communal groups to help each other out. That's why we didn't want any parasites in this nation. Neither did we want to accept people with no will of staying. It would be difficult to assimilate people with different ideologies to the same group. When you possess citizenship to a nation, you are obligated to contribute to the nation. That was also why you get to enjoy the rights for serving the nation. Those who do not belong to any nation, they won't have to afford any duty, and they can roam freely. I wasn't the one making the choice. It was up to the people visiting Tempest. If they were willing to submit their loyalty to Tempest, I welcomed them. Otherwise, they were guests. We wouldn't be able to provide the same welfare that the citizens received. That needed to be distinguished. It seemed that I need to discuss the matter in detail with Rigard. And things along those lines. For once I was actually pondering over things seriously. As I was in the midst of my thoughts, Masayuki wanted to speak to me. Is it true? If that's the case, we can actually mix in unidentified potions, or weapons and gear that have unknown effects. Shouldn't we do that so that people won't be able to identify which ones are the truly high-valued items? Oh yeah. We were in the middle of a meeting. I quickly considered Masayuki's words. I see, I get what he meant. Could it be? Are you making it so that they won't be able to use the items unless they appraise them at the counter? That's it. That said, most people probably won't drink unidentified potion anyway. Perhaps some people would. We can mix it with poison. It can be considered as a form of trap. It can be a good reminder for people to remember doing appraisal. We gotta put it into practice. Curse-type equipment could prove to be an interesting challenge, but magic weapons may also be interesting. They would probably think it's trash at first, but their true quality can only be revealed after appraisal. That's great. You can't even toss away random trash. You have to leave the labyrinth to do the appraisal. I began to discuss all these video game ideas with Masayuki. Most surprisingly, an idea that we can implement was forming. We began to get excited. Hearing our conversations, Ramiris and Veldora also got a giddy look on their faces. If you want them to hide their true forms, you can use my illusion magic, gahahaha. I'm getting worked up just thinking about the troubled and confused looks on those challengers. Looks like I'm gonna have plenty of fun in the future. These two seemed highly motivated as well. Trash gear is gonna take up their valuable space, so you will have to go back to town to sell them. I somehow feel like sales of the return whistle are gonna take off. Miles expressed this practical view. Hearing his words, that did seem to be the case. It would certainly make people feel reluctant if they had to throw away unidentified weapons or armors. It would definitely trouble people who like to roam the labyrinth for good items, once such an idea was put into practice. Every time they entered the labyrinth, it would also charge them an entry fee. The increase in the number of entries would also bring up the profit margin. After all, we wouldn't be the only one having fun now. Unidentified, how charming does that sound? Bearing the excitement of waiting for the result off the appraisal, that was quite fun in itself. Your brain's gonna explode out of excitement. What you thought was garbage turned out to be a treasure. In this way, even if it really were trash, people would still value it a lot. I didn't think we needed to put in too many big prizes. Instead, we could increase the drop rate of the low healing potions. That way, we could support the lower rank customers. We would need to adjust accordingly. I see, then it's about we work in that direction. A patch update, right? Masayuki followed up. I shouldn't have said about time. I did just acknowledge his idea. With that being said, patch update was a great term. That's a nice way to put it. Ramiris nodded along, as if she understood everything that was happening. Or, did you really get all that with that message in mind? I turned to her, but she immediately averted her eyes. It looked like she was just playing along with the atmosphere. This gal only knew petty tricks like this. Miles gave off an evil grin. Veldora burst out in laughter as he always did. We looked at each other and nodded in agreement.